Welcome back to Little Z Farm. It's echoing in here because this is it. We've packed everything. This is our last load that we were taking from this property, and this is where Little Z Farm was born. And even though that name is going with us, this is the property where it all kind of started for us. So we're gonna walk around the property, make sure we've collected everything. So walk down memory lane with us. This is really all that's left of the garden. The garden's just kind of overgrown, but this raised bed here has some tomatoes growing. Some of these should start to ripen not too long after they get here, so I'm hoping that will be a nice treat for them. Get your little wagon, let's go. Pumping up and down in my little red wagon. We're going to the stable first, see if there's anything left. Go to the office. So baby cat, Rosemary's daughter, we have not been able to catch her yet, and it's starting to really stress me out. If you watch our channel, you know that we're particularly attached to the barn cats. They're part of the family. They go through basically training to be a Zorn's type of barn cat, and baby is just never really. She likes us. I can tell that she likes us because when we first got her, she wanted to kill me, and she definitely likes us. But like, she's a true, like, traditional barn cat. She still has those feral tendencies. I know it smells. I mean, it doesn't smell, and it's quiet. I mean, I guess the last time it was this quiet was when we moved in. But this is where we had the chickens, our first chickens in the brooder box, and we got our 15 chickens, and we didn't know what we were doing. Didn't you just bring them home from the farm store?
Mm-hmm. Right before we left to go to Cuba.
Yeah, right before we left to leave the country, we brought home our first baby chicks. Oh, you have to get off. Guys, who's been pooping in the food bowl? Not okay. Not okay doing it. Peck me. And that was before we had Walter. So before we had the livestock guardian. It's when we had Roxy.
It's just as good.
Our first baby dog, who was actually, how old was she when we moved out here? 10 years old when we moved out here, and we did it, and we got 2 rabbits for no apparent reason. Yeah, because the rabbits looked really sad, and they had like poop stuck to them, and so we brought them home and we doctored them up. And actually doctoring them up, I feel, was like the first time I felt like we did something like farmy. Eric has to walk around because he can't stand nostalgia. What's your favorite memory in here?
I like that photo of you doctoring the rabbits when you're down here doing something farmy for the first time.
You want to know what my favorite memory is? So I guess this is a trend, Eric bringing home animals, because there were 3 orange kittens that Eric brought home. And these were like very small kittens, and I had never been around really small kittens like that before. I mean, I think they said they were like 8 weeks old, but I don't think they were 8 weeks old. And like, their eyes weren't, I thought Eric brought home blind kittens, and there was a panic. But those kittens turned into be the 3 orange boys that I always show in our videos, and they are just the best boys. Buster, what do you think of your friends? And so that's my favorite memory from here. The 3 boys. I mean, I feel like a lot happened here. I mean, the sunsets cannot be beat from basically this spot. I mean, we enjoyed them from the deck, but there's something like standing out here where I felt very like, what's the word?
The end of the world right there.
Like connected to God. Like very, I don't know. What's your favorite memory out here in the stable yards?
Do you have lots of your memories?
Yeah. I mean, this is where the chickens like first came out.
This is where Walter started watching them.
Yeah. Like we started them in the stable stalls, and then they came out here, and the ducks had their pool, and remember the ducks and Roxy. But the ducks won.
Our horses were out here.
Yeah, the horses.
Ours.
They weren't our horses, but we rented our pasture for the majority of the time that we were here. I mean, up until the last year. Roxy! Chicken. Good chicken. Brought the ducks some grapes today.
Hey! Good job. Hi, Roxy. Hi. Hi, buddy. Hi. Sit. Sit. Yeah. That's my favorite memory.
My cousin Lacey and I, like, we were not caring for the horses. We were just providing the pasture. And my cousin and I came out here, and one of the horses had a thorny branch stuck in her tail. And we had to cut it out. But, like, we were trying to do it without getting kicked because we're not horse people. And it was a scene, and we were using kitchen shears and, like, Fisker scissors She cut horse's tail because she was whacking herself with it and she was bleeding. And yeah, that was the scene. I don't have any video of that because, you know, the world was ending. And then the goats lived here.
They didn't do a very good job of eating stuff.
Yeah, they didn't do a very good job of eating it. I mean, I thought goats ate, like...
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you can have, like, 10 goats in an acre. I thought it was, like, the 2 goats were going to just, like, mow this down. And I thought that they enjoyed grass. But goats are brush hogs. But I mean, I've been chased by roosters in these stalls. One of the silky roosters is kind of like coming for me. Hey. No, go away, Randall. I've cut a goat's hooves for the first time in these stalls. I've raised baby chicks into full-grown adults in these stalls.
Very few died.
Very few died. What a win. A lot of things learned. Right. Remember how mad you were when the horses were...
Chewing on my air conditioner?
Yeah, and the power. We had to put a fence up around it.
Very rude of them. That's the first time we talked to Bill and Lisa was because Roxy was missing, and then we went down there and found her, and Lisa said, "Oh, I've been feeding her bacon."
Yeah, our neighbors to the north were amazing. And after Roxy, Walter, who they call Wally, he would go down there, and I guess it was just the thing. So Walter started to think, though, that was like his second place. Like, he needed to guard that as well. So we had to, like, work on the fencing. And actually, when we told them that we were moving, the first thing that Lisa said was, "Just after you got the fence done for Wally?" It's thundering. It's supposed to storm tonight. We've been moving in the hottest days of the year. It got up to over 100 degrees. Heat index has been 105 to 110 the past week. And we survived. And there were moments where I thought we weren't going to. Oh, we did the squash garden here one year. And we had so much squash. That was the year that we had the farmer's market. And I thought I don't know. Growing stuff that year, I just felt like we were like master gardeners or something. And we really didn't even have any idea what we were doing. But I will say that was the first year that I felt like we could do this. Like, we could actually farm. We could actually garden, you know. Because we've done everything kind of very slowly. And that was the time that I was like, we could do this. What was that time for you?
Still waiting on it?
So the coop was the first thing that Eric built, and it took us a really long time. And it didn't really matter. I mean, we had the chickens up in the stall. That's back when we thought there were like a lot of rules, I feel like. We were like, we had to get these chickens into the coop. I felt weird about like having them in a stall, and now I realize that people have chickens and animals in all sorts of ways. But anyway, when we were like just starting with chickens, we named them all, and we had a housewarming party, and we thanked the guests by letting them name a chicken. And so that's still, several of those names are still there. I remember our first rooster that we loved was Diablo. And when Diablo disappeared one day, it was very sad. But he lived for like I mean, he was here for 3 years. He was the father of little Z's babies. Because that happened in this coop too. So little Z,
we had, were they born right there?
Yeah.
We had a little makeshift thing.
Well, like so little Z, who we named our farm after, she's just this feisty chicken that marches to the beat of her own drum. Good eater too, and we are too. But she started sitting on eggs. She went broody, and we were like terrified of that. But then we're like, okay, let's just see what happens. And she just did it like right in one of the nesting boxes. She just sat there.
Well, first she tried to do it in the bush.
Well, yeah. Well, okay.
She wasn't coming home.
Yeah, she wasn't coming home at night, so she was like hiding in a bush. She tried to do it there, but then we moved her out here, and she sat, and once again, so I walk out, open it up, and I had been checking because I thought it had been the 21 days, and I finally just heard. My heart is exploding. Are those your babies? Are those your babies? Hello, baby. How are you, Mama? And Eric was gone then too. Were you working out of town? Probably.
I think it was probably at Gordon. I think I was at Gordon.
Yeah. Every time something like big happened, Eric was like gone. And I'm a very anxious person, so you can imagine that that was like rough for me. But we moved them, and I was like, oh, I bet there's like, I don't know, 5 or 6. We didn't look and see how many eggs there were, because a broody hen is kind of not so nice. And there were 13. 13 little Z babies. She's a good mama. That's the duck's first house. Oh, the ducks. I remember their first swim and everything. We were like so mesmerized by that. They're just funny little creatures.
Good job. Good job.
So I think we've done a really good job of cleaning up the farm and our house for the new owners. With the exception of the garden is an embarrassment. I mean, it's not a garden right now. I mean,
Weed pile.
the weed garden. There's raised beds in here that I hope.
Look at how fertile that soil is.
Yeah, the soil is fertile. So hopefully they can grow good stuff next year, or even the fall if they get it cleaned out. But this garden has been, I would say, life-changing for us because it's inspired us to want to grow our own food. And it started with that, I mean the chicken eggs, but like growing that, and for me...
You have to have something to put the eggs in.
What?
You have to have something to put the eggs in. You have to.
Oh, yeah.
Spinach for your eggs.
Oh, yeah. The first time that we had like garden vegetables and eggs, and we were like, everything on this plate is from our garden. That was a really big deal. And we both grew up in suburbia, and so I had no idea like really where food comes from. I don't know if you did, like if you were connected to that at all, but I was not. And so it's kind of changed our lives, and it's kind of like propelling like what I think we'll do in the future and what our farm will mean to us and hopefully other people.
Let's talk about the door. You helped me put these in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
We found this door, which looks really nice, but then we couldn't really get any lawnmower or a tractor in here, so may rethink that in the future.
Oh yeah,
That's cute.
it is cute. Aside from growing food and everything, I think you're right. The other story from the garden is
Being cute.
and the horse that died.
Do you want to tell that story?
I mean,
This is the first place we saw we had something die, really, right?
yeah.
Because we were making this, and then we heard the horses running around like crazy, making a bunch of commotion, and then we went up there, and then that horse was not doing so hot. She was laying there, and then we called the vet, and by the time
But
it
she was
too
gone
late.
within 60 seconds.
Yeah.
And we called the owner, which again, if you're renting your property, beware. But we called the owner and she didn't really know what to do with the horse's body.
So we called our friend who has basically been like our guru,
Our best farm friend at the time.
our best farm friend, excuse me. And he's like, what did he say? I'm eating lunch, but I guess I could come over afterwards and take care of it. And that was like mind-boggling to me. I mean, I know death happens on a farm, but he came over here, he took care of it.
He buried.
Yeah, he buried it. Sorry, I didn't mean it like that. I'm just saying I still have the visual in my head. I still have the visual. And he was just like, this stuff happens. This stuff happens. And I guess that was another moment where I was like, I guess this is a farm, if this is happening. Not so good time, but we've learned a lot, so.
Where we grew the world's most delicious watermelon.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't believe that either.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that came from our ground. We did that. We planted that seed. I think I've also cried a lot out here from like the heat.
From being hot.
Yeah.
You proposed to me right here.
Mm-hmm. Is that your favorite? I'll miss just being able to look around at the sun. That was nice. No neighbors. No neighbors in sight.
I was talking about while we were moving, I was talking about how like we're going to have like other chickens and goats, and we're going to get more farm animals, and we're going to do more farm things, but like the moments that we had here, you know, will never be like duplicated because they won't be.
Won't be Roxy.
Yeah, it won't be the same smell, the same moment in time, you know? But I feel like this is what we needed when we were here. And I think we thought that it was going to be forever when we bought it. But I think it feels right to leave now because it's served its purpose in our lives. And hopefully we're leaving it for someone who it's going to serve a purpose and a greater purpose for them too. Cramping and I'm sad and emotional. My dad says melancholy, not sad, because excited about what's next, but just
Bring your little tool. This is where we try to keep Roxy the first 6 hours she lived here.
and you're like, girl, just gotta run free.
Yeah.
She just gotta run free.
So she was contained in here for a few hours, and then she just was a free dog after that.
Yes, you did lots of amazing things in there. Wait. Okay. Well, I guess that's the last homestead tour on this property. And I'm thinking pretty soon we're gonna have to do a homestead tour of the new property. If you've been watching and following along with us so far, thanks for being here. And if you're new, I hope you will join us on our next adventure. See you next time. Good.